Explain how to overcome single hemisphere dominance. You should develop both the hemispheres by enhancing the skills of the less dominant hemisphere in the following ways: by increasing awareness of both the modes of the hemisphere and analyzing which hemispheric mode dominates while performing various functions, the feeling which one experiences while functioning in a given hemispheric mode, and the sensations in the mind and body which one goes through. By developing a sense of clarity or understanding about the requirement of each task which we perform. Increasing the awareness of the hemispheric shift or transition by paying attention to the mental and physical changes which one will have to undergo during this transition. Acknowledging the presence or the importance of the other hemisphere while performing any task, for example, while taking care of a serious nature of work which requires logical reasoning. One can make some effort to allow creativity or some humor at work. This change can be brought about with an attitudinal change. By altering our lifestyle for allowing the other hemisphere to express itself. Gaining an understanding about the hemispheric preference of other people for improving relationship or communication with others. Carefully observing and carrying out a thorough assessment or monitoring of the most dominant hemispheric mode. By observing other people, such as the successful examples of many internationally famed public speakers. They skillfully make frequent changes between the hemisphere for keeping their audience engaged and interested. Improving awareness about the 90 minutes brain cycle when the brain tends towards a hemisphere and then towards the other hemisphere. Developing an understanding about the frustration or discontentment which might develop because of the usage of the wrong hemisphere while handling various tasks. Let's now look at a real-life example to understand the relevance of lateralization of brain in a person's behavior. Sachin Verma works as a project manager in Thornton Software. Sachin is a left-handed person, and hence, naturally, his right hemisphere controls a major part of his behavior. However, in Sachin's case, his right hemisphere is overly dominant and completely takes over his mental attitude, mental makeup, and his behavior. This overdominance of the brain's right hemisphere is proving to be problematic for Sachin in his professional life. Sachin is not able to build rapport or connections with his team members as he is extremely introvert. This introvert nature makes Sachin's team members feel that he's aloof towards them and cares less about them. As the right hemisphere is where a person's feelings and emotions reside, Sachin tends to be oversensitive and gets hurt easily. This especially poses a problem when he faces criticisms from any of his superiors. As Sachin is unable to gel with people around him and is unable to handle his emotions properly, he tends to be cut off from everyone and harbors negative feelings about everything. Sachin seeks the help of his friend Lena, who is a clinical psychologist. Lena helps Sachin understand that he could actually use some techniques that could help him reduce the overdominance of his brain's right hemisphere. Sachin is also surprised to find out when Lena tells him that he can actually develop habits of tapping into the most apt hemisphere that is suited to a particular task. With Lena's help, Sachin soon gains control over his brain and hence his behavior and mental attitude. So now, whenever he has to do something creative and get involved in things that require sensitivity and emotions, he would use more of his brain's right hemisphere. Whereas whenever he had to undertake any logical and practical activities, he would tap more into his brain's left hemisphere. Thus, you can understand that it's important to understand the relevance of lateralization of the brain and take advantage of the correct side of the brain to be efficient.